Getting into the text of the Hebrew Bible. My name is Gregorio Bilikov. Greetings from the south of Chile. I wanted to share an approach that has helped me get into the text of the Hebrew Bible. Steve Kaufman from Vancouver, Canada, suggests that those who understand the story ahead of time have an advantage in learning compelling material, either because of what it says or because of our drive to learn. That language is vital. So, if we have a passion for the Hebrew Bible and for learning biblical Hebrew, then we have at least two things going for us. We love the contents and we have desire. I will say something about the approach and then share my first sample. I will divide the approach and methods section into 3 steps. Step 1. Beginning with Genesis 1:1, I made Anki flashcards. Some of the Hebrew involves single words, short expressions, longer expressions, or a complete verse. 2. On the front side of the card, I included Hebrew from the Biblia Hebraica Stuttgartensia, BHS, and the translation on the back side. 3. On the one hand, the greater the context, the easier the card. And on the other hand, longer expressions include more words, so long expressions can sometimes be hard. 4. Preparing my own cards helps in the learning process. I prefer literal translations, so I use the King James Version and various other literal translations in the process. 5. I find myself constantly correcting my own translations and especially moving towards what I call the absurdly literal rendering. 6. My brain soon recognized words without even reading them. This is both positive and negative. I was ready for the next step. Step 2. 1. I recorded my own Hebrew to each flashcard and attached it to the front of the card. 2. I listened to the Hebrew before permitting myself to look at the Hebrew text on the front of the card. 3. My own voice in Hebrew is slower paced, so this was an advantage. 4. After doing this for a month or 2, I was ready for the next step. I threw away my cards and started again from scratch as follows. Step 3. 1. I have access to 3 different Israeli voices. To the BHS Hebrew text in the front of the card, I will attach one of these voices. I often prepare 3 different cards for the same word, expression, or verse, one with each of these voices. 2. Some of the voices are much more difficult to understand, and that also makes for good practice. 3. I have begun to prepare new texts with favorite scriptures from all over the Hebrew Bible, while at the same time make steady progress in Genesis. 4. I have 2 types of texts. On some of them, my focus is on reading, especially at the beginning of the process of each new verse. In others, I use Anki capability to start and pause the audio, and do not permit myself to look at the Hebrew text until I have translated the text, often doing so aloud. 5. I also practice pronunciation of the Hebrew text. 6. I study for about an hour a day. Making new cards may take another half an hour per day. 7. I have begun making grammatical annotations of some of the cards also. Next, we will see the first sample of how I work with Anki.
כה אמר אדוני, אל יתהלל חכם בחוכמתו, ואל יתהלל הגיבור בגבורתו, אל יתהלל עשיר בעושרו.
Once I select to view the answer, I see the English translation and then can choose how soon I want to be tested again. Results. As of this recording, I have been working on this project for about 6 months, and here are some of the results. 1. For materials I have studied, I am able to read from the BHS directly with excellent comprehension. 2. I am increasing my ability to understand the audio portion. There are times where my comprehension of the audio is even better than the written materials. 3. My ability to correctly read the Hebrew text out loud is improving. 4. With this background, I am keen to study more grammar and vocabulary. When Hebrew grammar begins to answer the questions I have pondered, then it becomes a delight to study grammar, and the grammar is memorable because I can more easily apply it. 5. My ability to get a feeling for syntax has improved. 6. My confidence has improved so that I feel that with a little bit of effort, I can learn to read or listen to any portion of the Hebrew Bible, be it from the law, prophets, or writings. Next, let us consider some of the materials and resources I have used. Recordings of the Hebrew Bible. I recommend all three. 1. Shlomo Bertonov. The Bible, the Law, the Prophets, the Writings. 4 CDs MP3. Accordance Oak Tree Software offers the Bible Society in Israel Hebrew Audio Bible Project, which contains audio by chapter or by verse for the complete Tanakh. Abraham Shmuelov's recording is offered by the Academy of Ancient Languages online resource for learning ancient languages. Of the various Hebrew texts, I recommend Biblia Hebraica Stuttgartensia with Westminster Hebrew Morphology 1996, sold by Logos and Accordance. The flashcards I use are produced by Anki software. The computer version is free, but the iPhone, iPad version is expensive, but it's really worth the cost. The information syncs very well between my apps and my computer. For recording and editing, I use Audacity. You can import the MP3 files into Audacity and cut them into smaller portions to go with your Anki flashcards. Or you can record your own. And there are so many very wonderful biblical Hebrew grammars. Here are two. Biblical Hebrew, a text and workbook by Bonnie Pedrotti Kittel, Vicky Hoffer, and Rebecca Abts Wright. Published by Yale in 1989, the book builds on this link between our love for the Hebrew Bible and the grammar. 2. John Beckman is a master teacher and has an online course that goes along with Practico Van Pelt's Basics of Biblical Hebrew. Beckman's lessons are to the point, clear, and interesting. This is Gregorio Bilikov. Bravo, India, Echo, Lima, India, Kilo, Oscar, Victor at yahoo.com. This is where I edit my cards on the computer. So, some of them have a noise or sound, some do not. So, Urdu, Bidgat Hayam, Et, Hamaor Hagadol, Etz, Peru, Urbu, Urvu, Umil'u, Sachar ונקבה.
ויאמר אדוני אל אברהם, לך לך מארצך וממולדתך ומבית אביך אל הארץ אשר אראך.
ויעש אלוהים את חיית הארץ למינה.
מתחת השמיים.
וילך איתו לוט.
In this example, I have not just the word, but other words that go with it.
וילך איתו לוט.
Ito is with him,
10 ויקרא אלוהים אל הרקיע שמיים וירא אלוהים כי טוב יהי.
So anyway, you can tell the difference between when I pronounce it and when one of the Israelis pronounces it. If you have any questions, send me an email.